Yes, Doctor?
Exactly how bad is the supply situation here at Pembroke?
It really depends.
Please, could you point me in the direction of the morgue again?
It's the large boarded-up building behind
Why then?
at the Pembroke.
Your dedication,
We staff.
lack of sleep, and the medical profession.
London's trenches start here at Pembroke Hospital.
That's all for now, Nurse Crane, thank you.
This dead flesh needs it.
Oh, please spare me, Dark Queen. Spare.
Scowl voices in the garden. I should investigate. If they were to find somebody. Behavior is similar to the infected William Bishop. Must be the same strain. This sickness moves faster than influenza. This key will surely grant me access to the basement. Mars, fortifiers. As popular as they are ineffective. But they do contain iron tartrate, and that might prove itself useful. These skulls feed from corpses and the husks of animals. They're not after blood.
It's locked. It's locked.
Mr. Connor's injuries don't match the report. I'd better look into this.
It's locked, all right.
Ебаный комфорт, живешь.
Ferocious. I'm not sure I can defeat them without becoming stronger. To drink blood is so tempting. Sodium hypochlorite. Dangerous to administer, but efficient in the proper dosage.
Чё? Сходил ответ?
Good evening, nurse. I'm Dr. Jonathan.
Dr. Swan...
Did he really?
All...
I see.
You...
How... Do you...
We...
And... I'm not the most...
It would...
Nurse...
No.
Is that... Why...
I can...
Goodbye, nurse. Call me if you need assistance.
Another night. Surely I can give you all another night.
Good evening, sir.
So it is true. The famous Dr. Reed has joined us. I can't think of any better news during these terrible times.
Do we know each other?
Actually, yes. We met once before, at the Rockefeller University in New York.
Dr. Tippett, yes, I remember. I was assisting Professor Carell in his research about coronary bypasses. He had nothing but praise for you.
He was also very confident about your future. And look at you now. Eminent surgeon and blood transfusion specialist.
What is the Pembroke Hospital situation? And please, speak freely.
This hospital is not exactly the best of London. I'm sure you are used to working in a better environment.
It's more than enough. In any case, the personnel of a hospital are much more important to me than the building.
Don't be misled by appearances, Dr. Reed. This hospital does not lack talented people. It just lacks hope.
What can you tell me about the staff in the hospital?
Some are really good, and others are not so good. But during this troubled period, there is no time for slander. I prefer to focus on the positive character traits.
Tell me more about cherished people, then.
Nurse Brannigan is a pearl. She is the most helpful and dedicated nurse I've ever worked with. A clever and cheerful woman.
You really seem to admire her skills.
I'll go even further. If she was a man, she would be a damn fine practitioner.
Any opinion about the management?
I don't always agree with Dr. Swansea's reserve, but I must admit he does all he can to keep this facility running during this crisis.
Ah, yes, the burden of command. I was fed up with this concept while serving as a medical officer.
Don't get me wrong. Swansea's a good administrator. I just wish he would get out of his office now and again.
You're exhausting yourself, Corcoran. Maybe you should think about preserving your strength.
No. We must keep on healing all those poor souls. We are the last rampart before chaos. Once more unto the breach.
Nurse Brannigan is worried about you, Doctor.
She should not have told you that. I will have a word with her.
You don't have to blame her for her honesty.
I'm not that kind of man, my dear Jonathan. Actually, Nurse Brannigan's opinion is the only one I may listen to.
Do you need any medical assistance yourself, Doctor?
Come on, don't be ridiculous, dear colleague.
Goodbye, Dr. Tippett. Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. I'm new here.
I've already heard about you, Dr. Reed. I'm Milton Hooks, the ambulance driver for this shithole of a hospital.
That's quite a blunt introduction, Mr. Hooks.
You can call me Milton. I like to speak my mind, Dr. Reed. Perk of the job. Don't judge me, and I won't judge you.
I'm not sure I understand what you're talking about.
Well, I'm no doctor, but I'm pretty sure a gun can't be used as a surgical instrument.
You have a keen eye.
I learned to shoot during the war and have carried one ever since. Old habits die hard.
No need to explain, Dr. Reed. And if you ever need a better gun, remember, I may have something for you.
I'd like to see your goods.
Wise choice, Dr. Reed. A reliable gun is what everybody needs these days. Perhaps I should have considered...
Good evening, Milton.
Good evening, Doctor. Still trying to save lives?
Tell me why you're extorting money from some of the patients here.
If a patient wants a bed, he'll have to pay me a little fee. That's all.
Where did you get the idea for such an immoral scam?
Funny you should ask. The first time it was from a patient who bribed me to get a bed. It's only then I realized I could make a fortune.
Why do you have such a mediocre reputation among your colleagues, Milton?
Fuck them. Nobody knows the horrors I've seen since working here. This city was sick long before the epidemic, Dr. Reed.
I know it's a difficult task, but correct me if I'm wrong. Is this not the job you are paid to do?
I've seen babies left to die while their brothers were properly fed. Underage girls and boys sold to all manner of perverts.
I'm sorry, I don't know what to say.
Yeah, exactly. We lack words. So excuse me if I don't look on the bright side of life.
So what do you do exactly in this hospital? Apart from smuggling guns, I mean.
I've been an ambulance driver since... too long, I guess. I bring sick people here night and day. It's a dirty job, but I get it done. Most of the time.
Since you're on the front line, how is the sanitary situation in this vicinity?
It's a complete disaster. It's even getting dangerous to enter some streets or buildings. Even the locals attack you.
It sounds like things have been a bit rough recently. What's happened?
Yesterday I got attacked by the patient I was bringing here. I escaped through the hospital's garden, but I lost my wallet when I was running.
You left an infected patient outside the hospital? That's incredibly dangerous.
Go there yourself if you want, but be careful, Doctor. I'd rather not bring your dead body back.
Are you really smuggling weapons through the hospital?
And why not? I've already been attacked by patients, you know. And by gang members willing to steal my money.
But you're not defending yourself. You're selling guns to civilians.
You keep people alive your own way, Doctor. I offer them another way to protect their health.
How is the situation around here?
You want to hear the situation is all right? It's fucking awful. We lack everything, and it's getting worse every day.
I'd like to see your goods.
Wise choice, Dr. Reed. A reliable gun is what everybody needs these days.
Туалет-то можно закрыть?
Scowl voices in the garden. I should investigate. If they were to find somebody. So, Mr. Hooks and Nurse Hawkins are an item. Those two have hidden their affections well.
Лайн, здесь вешаю от двери. От двери вешаю.
Traces of a pinkish foam at the corner of the lips. Some sort of drug overdose, perhaps? The chest was originally opened to perform the operation. The sutures are clean, but the chest has been reopened. Multiple abrasions and scarring on the arms and legs. Old and distinctive injuries of a sailor or a fisherman. A puncture over the left lung, possibly a chest tube insertion. Not the cleanest work, but I think it was successful. Signs of internal bleeding. So, Dr. Tippett's anesthetics were incorrectly dosed, causing the patient's death. And then he tried to operate on him again. Tippett has made an egregious error. It's time we talked. It's locked. behavior is similar to the infected William Bishop. Must be the same strain. This sickness moves faster than influence.
It's locked, all right. It's locked, all right. Good evening. I'm Dr. Reed.
Always a pleasure to meet a colleague, sir. Especially when he was supposedly dead.
A colleague? Are you a doctor too?
Not anymore, sir. I used to be Dr. Rakesh Chadana. Now, I'm just Mr. Chadana, pawnbroker and humble...
What do you mean? You used to be a...
No, sir. It is just that I like to be precise.
Are you afraid?
Why should I? These bodies are...
An interesting point of view.
Sir,
How did you get this job?
after I left the...
Have we met before?
I don't think so, sir. Why?
When we first talked, you said you were glad to meet me since I was reported dead.
Funny story, sir. Your sister came here a few nights ago. You were missing, and she was looking for your body. She must be very relieved now.
Do you work here alone?
Yes, very easy work, sir. All I have to do is watch a few bodies. Situation was very different when the main morgue was still open.
Why do you have...
Because these poor fellow...
Why close...
It was for...
A pawnbroker?
Yes, sir. Oh,
What kind of good?
with the quarantine...
Who comes here to trade?
I'm very cautious, sir.
Since you're not afraid of dying, do you believe in life after death, Rakesh?
No. I believe we must do all the good we can while alive. For our...
Do you think you would enjoy...
I don't think so.
Do you really...
As I said...
It's quite depressing.
Yes.
So,
No.
you're old.
No, Doc...
Please show me what you have to sell.
Of course. It's just trinkets and curios, really. But I'm sure they can be useful. It never ceases to amaze me how you, the dead, seem peaceful and lost at the same time.
Nice, sweet girl. Reads me like a book. I never could keep anything from her.
Good evening, Milton.
Good evening, Doctor. Still trying to save lives?
I have some good news, Milton.
What? The epidemic's over?
I retrieved your wallet with all the money and a certain picture.
Well, yeah, Pippa Hawkins is my girl. So what? Is it the difference of skin colour that bothers you?
Not at all, Milton.
Good. Please, take this money anyway. To remind you to keep your mouth shut. Not everybody is as broad-minded as you, Dr. Reed.
What's going on between you and Nurse Hawkins?
Pippa's tired. Tired of all this shit. Tired of all those corpses piling up. She's as depressed as I am.
During the war, I witnessed a few couples just like you come together in difficult circumstances. It can be very damaging.
Maybe you're right. But we support each other. And that's all that matters.
You do realize you could both get fired. Hospital staff are not meant to have intimate relationships with one another.
Come on, Dr. Reed. Do you know how many rules are broken in this hospital every day just to keep it running? There's nothing wrong with what we're doing.
I'd like to see your
Wise choice. Safer here than anywhere else in the East End. And I thought last summer's epidemic was...
Good evening, Mr. Hampton. How do you feel?
Dr. Reed, is it? Oh, sir, I must apologize for my behavior.
What do you mean?
I was not myself in the factory. Fear and exhaustion made me say awful things to you, I'm afraid.
You remained perfectly nice and polite. A little delirious, perhaps. But who wouldn't be after enduring an abduction?
Thank you, Doctor. That's a relief. Now all I need to do is rest and return to my flock.
How did you end up in William Bishop's den?
I had received alarming news about his recent behavior. I went to his place.
Why did he abduct?
William was an alcoholic. His addiction suddenly changed.
You dared to enter this awful place.
I'm just a man trying to help his friends, Dr. Reed.
What is the general
The
situation?
situation has always been tough, with a lot of tensions.
Who leads the gang?
Since Clay Cox went missing, it's his wife Edwina who runs the show.
Has the gang been...
Ah, no. I've had this nickname for so...
Do you know Tom Watts?
Tom? Yes, of course. Always the helping hand.
Who should I avoid in this part of town?
Not really. Most men and women are just doomed.
People are still in despair.
How could it be otherwise? The authorities have left us all to rot in this contagion.
What do you do for a living, Mr. Hampton? I can't help but notice the cross around your neck.
I manage a night asylum for the poor and homeless of the docks. And I try to guide the lost and hesitant on the right path to our Lord.
Are you a priest, Mr. Hampton? A deacon, maybe?
Not at all, Doctor. I'm just a man of faith willing to preach the good word.
Why didn't you use your cross against William Bishop? To repel him somehow?
That's a very strange question, Doctor. A cross is no magical token, if that's what you were trying to say. Not mine, anyway.
How do you feel, Mr. Hampton? Medically speaking.
I feel exhausted. Beyond exhaustion, actually.
You're in good hands here.
Thank you, sir. I believe all...
Have you made friends?
Not really. But I recognize Miss Harriet
You never came to see her here at Pembroke?
You're preaching to the converted now, Doctor. To be truly honest.
Goodbye, Mr. Hampton. We'll talk again later. Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
Pepper, I know you're very close to Milton Hooks.
Yes? Milton Hooks is my man. If you want to report me for that, just feel free, Doctor.
I have no intention of reporting you, Nurse Hawkins. But are you aware of the risks?
The rules say I won't be allowed to work as a nurse anymore. But here at the Pembroke, we break rules all the time.
Is he worth the risk?
Hey, I'm no perfect woman, and Milton is not the finest bloke. But we do our best to get by. That's all any of us can hope for nowadays.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins.
Time has lost its effect on me, but the suffering continues.
Good evening, Nurse Brannigan.
Good evening, Doctor.
Tell me what Dr. Tippett did. I know his mistake caused a patient's death.
If I had not covered up his error, Dr. Tippett would have been fired from this hospital. I could not let that happen.
You can't allow your emotions to dictate your conduct concerning patients, Nurse Brannigan.
Look around you, Dr. Reed. Do you really think we can afford to lose a brilliant practitioner like Dr. Tippett's in our situation?
I can't say I approve of what you did. But as a field surgeon, I know that some situations require you to bend the rules.
I'm not proud of what I've done, but to contain the epidemic must be our priority, so we can't afford to lose Dr. Tippett.
Why does Dr. Tippett claim you're the main reason he keeps working, despite his fatigue?
If it wasn't for him, I probably would have left the Pembroke years ago.
Dr. Tippett does not think of you as just a nurse anymore, does he?
If you're suggesting he's not taking my gender into consideration when it comes to medical practice and knowledge, I really hope he doesn't.
Goodbye, nurse. Call me if you need assistance.
Another night with the glorious battalion of Pembroke.
Another night. Surely I can...
Good evening, Dr. Tippett.
Dr. Reed, any...
Corcoran, I want you to tell me about Mr. Connor. How did he die? What happened?
He was my patient. He died because of my mistake. That's the blunt truth.
What was the nature of the mistake?
It was a twofold error. My diagnosis was wrong, and the administered dosage was too strong.
Who was this patient?
I don't know. Some sick man from the docks, maybe a fisherman. I had no time to talk with him. No one claimed the body.
Why not stop practicing?
Are you mad? I killed that man, I admit it, and it...
I will... You didn't...
Then I can make you the...
What will you do after your resignation? Do you have a plan?
I always fancied visiting Cyprus. Such a beautiful island. I could buy a house there, by the sea. Read poetry, and wait.
Goodbye, Dr. Tippett.
Good evening, Doc.
Please show me what you have to say.
Of course. I'm sorry you ended up.
Да что ж вы, сука-то, а? Такие, блядь, задрочные сидите.
The flower's dying. It needs water.
Please come back later.
Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins.
The life running in your veins. This dead flesh.
Good evening, Miss. I'm Dr. Reed, the new surgeon at the Pembroke Hospital. And who are you?
Your name has no meaning to me, mortal. You're nothing but dust blown by the winds of eternity.
I beg your pardon?
What are you begging for, mortal? My clemency? Well, tonight maybe I'm inclined to mercy. You'll never forget the night you met Thelma Howcroft.
You keep calling me mortal. Why is that? And if I'm mortal, what are you?
Well, Dr. Reed, if you must know, I'm a vampire.
And why do you believe you're a vampire?
I don't need to believe anything. It is what I am. It is what I feel within this hollow shell of flesh.
Please, describe to me how you feel. What is it like to be a vampire?
I can hear my body crumble from the inside as my flesh cracks and fades. I sense the last pulse of postulant blood within my drying veins. I need new blood.
I see. Have you ever heard?
Never.
It's a mental illness discovered by a French...
Delusional, you say? Oh, sad and petty mortal.
I'm assuming you must be a patient.
It's only a cover. To hide from my enemies. I can leave whenever I want. As a...
Who are these enemies, you...
I cannot say for sure.
The staff here are not your enemies.
I'm not speaking.
I see.
Thank you.
Who are you really, Miss Howcroft? I mean, apart from being a vampire.
Is that not enough for you, puny mortal? What do you require? Proof of my powers?
I'm curious to know who you were before becoming a vampire.
No, it's such a long time ago, I don't remember. Centuries of unholy life can have strange effects on one's minds, you see?
I'll leave you, Mistress of the Dark, to your nocturnal activities. Good evening, sir. Can I help you?
Unless you're here to fix my face. No. I don't think you can help me.
I'm Dr. Reed. I've recently taken the position of head surgeon here. War injuries, am I right?
You guessed right, Doctor. German shell took my pretty little mug right off. But they still call me Thomas Elwood.
How is your stay with us?
Oh, it's bliss. I just...
Can I ask you precisely why you're a patient here?
It's the pain, sir. The drugs don't work.
Can I do anything?
Nurses...
Who is...
Nobody.
You don't see...
My face hurts so much.
Where were you stationed, sir? Did you...
I really don't want to talk.
No offense. I was pushing too much.
You were an officer, weren't you? Then I doubt we fought the same wars.
How close are you to Miss Horcroft? Are you aware that she thinks she is a vampire?
To wait for her next nibble is the best.
Aren't you afraid? She may hurt you if the game...
She's quite harmless.
Time has lost its effect on me, but the suffering continues.
Звонил с сотового, так и не понял, но не успел. Нельзя. Так это зачем берешь сотовый, если... Ой, это вообще понятно. Если это тебе звонят бесплатно. Я понять не могу.
Good evening, Doctor. I believe we're going to be working together.
Dr. Reed. Dr. Swansea informed us of your arrival.
Thank you.
I am Thoreau Strickland. Dr. Thoreau Strickland. I'm a great admirer of your work, Dr. Reed.
Please, could you tell me?
I'm a great admirer of your work concerning blood transfusion, Doc.
I based my technique on my mentor's research. He helped me perfect my method. What is yours? As long as you're cautious.
You're not the...
What made you...
I'm not a shit...
It's all...
This
What can you tell me about the...
Well, it has always been an honor to work with Dr.
Do you need help with it?
Well, yes, maybe.
Do you want me to play the error?
Oh, no, Dr. Reed. But if you went personally to him...
I see. Well, give me the address. You seem quite optimistic. It's a rare and precious attitude in these.
I'm convinced that this epidemic is a test.
Questions remain about our capacity to resolve.
True. Last summer, during the...
Tell me more about your willingness to experiment with new medical techniques.
Harvey Fiddick is a patient suffering from a severe injury that could...
What is it you really want? To save him?
Fair question. I want nothing but to save my patient.
Tell me Mr. Fiddick's story.
Our first diagnosis was compromised because Mr. Fiddick lied to us about the real origin of his injury. He first claimed it...
But why would he hide such crucial information?
Because he is a proud father.
This personal involvement could also appear to be a lack of impartiality.
I agree.
Do you think keeping his
All I know is that I'm...
Goodbye, Dr. Strickland.
My sweet girl. Reads me like a book.
I'm all right. Waste of time.
Yes, Doctor?
That's all for now, nurse.
But in the circumstances, I'm willing to give you the benefit of the doubt.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. May I help you?
I don't know if a third opinion is needed. Your colleague...
I see. Would you...
I'm Harvey Fiddick. All I want is to get me bloody arm...
Tell me about yourself.
I'm just a regular guy waiting to get his arm fixed.
I was more curious about what you were doing.
I'm a carpenter. And a good one, too. But...
Tell me about the doctors who are arguing about your...
Strickland and Aykroyd. They both want the best for me, but there's a lot of pride there.
What do you mean?
I often had professional arguments with rivals on a building site. Difference is, I disagreed about wooden nails, not flesh and bones.
Are you satisfied with your treatment here?
Well, it's clear that I've chosen a bad time to be injured. Forgive my bluntness, but you seem overwhelmed by cases of the flu.
I won't lie to you about it. I'm afraid we are.
Are you sure you don't want to operate yourself, Dr. Reed?
In other circumstances... Tell me about your injury, Harvey. Why do you feel so guilty about it?
My wife died because of me.
How could your job be responsible for your wife's death?
I was working a double. She went out to bring me a hot meal and got caught in a German bomb raid.
You can't hold yourself responsible for your injury, Mr. Fiddick. Unless you tried to hurt yourself.
Of course I didn't hurt myself. But I can't work until my arm is fixed. My children need to eat, Doctor.
Tell me more about the death of your wife, Harvey.
1915. I was in the army. Building workshops for the Royal Flying Corps. Helen was happy I wasn't sent to the front.
What happened?
The Germans sent Zeppelins to bomb the construction site, but they missed their target. My wife was bringing my dinner when the bombs fell.
How are your children after...
They were smaller then. The only good...
I'm sorry for your loss. So many died during the bombings. I served in France and witnessed the carnage there.
I would like to say that she didn't suffer. Truth is, I have no idea. I just know that I'm all that me kids have. Poor little bleeders.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Fiddick. I'll see you later.
I will not let you down, my boy.
Good evening, sir. Doctor.
My sweet...
Good evening, madam. Can I help you?
It's my son who needs you, sir. I'm Beatrice Goswick, mother of Mortimer.
What do you think of your reception here? Any complaints? Is there something in particular that's bothering you?
Some of the staff were not especially welcoming. I suspect they're not accustomed to dealing with patients of such social standing.
What can you tell me about yourself, Mrs. Goswick?
Not much to say. Just take care of my Mortimer and I'll...
May I ask if you have an occupation, Mrs. Goswick?
I'm a teacher by profession. I teach young women who are more ambitious about their futures than their families.
Are you really that rich? Most of the patients here are of a more humble origin, if I may say so.
Yes.
Tell me more about your arrival at the Pembroke Hospital.
The ambulance driver...
What do you mean?
She managed...
She charged you?
Yes. And I pay...
I share your...
I don't expect...
Goodbye, Mrs. Goswick.
Waste your time with me.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Reed. Can I help at all?
No.
Really? Why are you here, then?
I don't want to talk. My throat hurts too much.
I suppose that this...
Yes.
Could you at least tell...
Mortimer.
Why did your mother have you hospitalized here? She seemed...
My mother just wants the best for me. She won't rest while I'm in.
Pembroke Hospital made...
It's not me you have to convince.
Is your mother bothering you? As your doctor, I can ask her to leave you alone if you would prefer.
That's tempting, Doctor. But you have no idea what my mother is capable of. She would tie herself to my bed if you asked her to leave.
How painful is your throat, Mr. Goswick?
So painful I'd rather not talk at all, Doctor.
I'm sure you realize a doctor and his patient have to communicate, sir. Would it help if I...
Not really.
I see. Then maybe it's not...
Yes, maybe.
How painful is your throat?
So painful I'd rather...
I'll let you get...
I'm all right. Don't waste your time with me.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. I believe we're going to be colleagues.
Reed? Yes, I've been informed about your arrival.
Does my arrival inconvenience you in some way, Dr. Ackroyd?
Let us just say that I don't particularly share Dr. Swansea's enthusiasm for hiring you.
If you have a problem with me, Dr. Ackroyd, please feel free to tell me.
Dr. Swansea has imposed your presence on this hospital without asking anyone's advice. The benefit of his position.
I know we...
Oh.
Do you need my assistance?
Not at all. I'm sure that you are used to gaining people's trust with your impressive skills. Well,
Do you need my assistance?
Not at all.
If you have a...
Dr.
I know... There is no need...
That is...
Tell me, Wade.
Strictly.
Are you...
Harvey... Right.
Since you're Keller,
We're here.
I don't...
Modern.
It seems we can... I don't... And be careful.
I only...
You
see...
Thank you for your time. We'll talk later. I cannot enter.